What's up guys, Thomas from FT86SpeedFactory, and today we're taking a look at Brembo brake kits and how you can get the same performance and looks out of the factory performance package, but at a fraction of the cost. With the release of the 2017 BRZ, we got the performance package option that included upgraded dampers, wheels, and these performance Brembo brakes. Now obviously this is our 8.6 and not a BRZ, but we did get the calipers to test aftermarket wheel fitment, rotors, and pads. And if you have the performance package and you want that information, I'll leave it down in the description below. But what if you didn't get the performance package? Maybe you have an FRS or an 8.6 that didn't even have this option available. We could definitely get the OE Brembo kit that we have available on our website, but we also sourced together a kit from Brembo that has similar level of performance, but with a much cheaper price. Now here on the table, I have both Brembo brakes side by side. On the left, we have the OE Brembo Performance Package caliper, and over here on the right, we have the Brembo Gt Caliper. Both are 4-piston calipers, both of them use 326mm rotors, and obviously both of these are red. But once you look a little closer, you'll start to notice a few differences. The Brembo logo on the GT kit is a lot smaller than it is on the OE kit, and the finish here on the OE kit is a lot glossier red than it is on the GT kit. However, this GT kit is available in multiple colors. You can get it in this red color as well as black and silver. Dimension-wise, the GT kit is a little shorter, a little wider, and it also has wider space in between the pistons, so you could throw thicker pads and rotors in there. But the extra width does mean that you're going to have a bit less wheel clearance. While Brembo does recommend a 3mm clearance between the wheel spoke and the caliper itself for thermal expansion and wheel deflection, you can get away with just 2mm of clearance if you don't have cheap wheels and your wheels have a minimal amount of wheel deflection. If you want to check if your wheels will clear the Brembo GT kit, we have a template that you can download on our website, and that link will be in the description. Putting these two calipers on the scale with the pads already installed and all the hardware, the GT kit is slightly lighter, coming in at just 0.3 pounds less per side. Now when comparing piston sizes, all 4 pistons on the OE Brembos are all the same size at 40mm, but on the GTs, they use a staggered piston setup, so the front pistons, the leading edge pistons, are going to be a little bit smaller at 36mm, while the other two are at 40. Now the reason why you'd want a staggered piston setup like on these GT brakes is as the rotor spins, it's going to first come into contact with this leading edge piston, and as it travels down, it's going to generate more heat, so the rear sets of pistons need to be larger to have the same level of pressure. There's also going to be a small amount of debris and gases that break off from the front of the pad and travel towards the rear, and that's going to leave a small gap between the pad and the rotor. That's another reason why the rear caliper pistons are bigger than the front. Now when we take a look at what each kit comes with, the GT kit definitely takes another win, giving you the best bang for your buck. It comes with everything needed to bolt this up to your car, including the rotors, calipers, lines, pads, all the hardware, and they even throw in a piece of tube to help you bleed your brakes, and all of this comes at a cost that's just over $1,900. And when we take a look at the OE kit, you'll notice that it doesn't come with quite as much stuff as the GT kit. You only get the calipers and the hardware out of the box. You'll have to choose the aftermarket pads, lines, and rotors from a simple drop-down menu from our website. But with just this configuration right here, it's going to cost $1,600, and with pads, lines, and rotors, it's going to range from $2,000 to $3,300. Now one more big difference between these two calipers is the GT kit uses a radial mounted brake while the OE kit uses an axial mount. And axial mounts are what most calipers use, but before your eyes glaze over and I lose you, the radial mounted caliper on the GT kit runs parallel with the face of the rotor, which gives you a more crisp and consistent brake feel, and you'll find that most top-end sports bikes use radial mounted brakes. That's just one more plus for the GT kit, and now that we have all these differences aside, let's go ahead and install this GT kit. When removing the stock brake components, I like to start with the brake lines, but before I disassemble any of the lines, I like to have a bucket underneath, and I also like to compress the brake pedal in the down position by using the handle from our jack and wedging it in between the brake pedal and the seat. I'm leaving the brake line on the caliper so everything comes out in one nice piece. And to remove the caliper, there are just 2 bolts holding it onto the hub. We take those out and all the caliper lines and pads come out in one nice piece. Then we can just slide the rotor off, and that exposes the 3 bolts holding on the dust shield, and we won't be needing this dust shield anymore since it doesn't fit on the bigger rotors. Now we can install Brembo's caliper adapter bracket that converts the old axial mount to the new radial mount. Then we can slide on a new rotor, and I use a lug nut to help hold it into place while we throw on the new GT caliper and thread in the 2 caliper bolts. Now the last component we need is the brake line, and we can start by preparing the banjo bolt with a copper washer followed by the brake line and then another copper washer, and we're ready to thread this into the caliper. Then we can just reinstall the rest of the line the same way that we took it off. Now once you have both sides installed, the bleeding process is going to be pretty much the same, except for now each Brembo caliper has 2 sections to bleed. You have an inside and an outside, and you want to make sure that you bleed the inside first. Now if you want to learn more about these Brembo calipers, or you want to go ahead and pick one up for your car, you can head directly to our website by clicking right here. Now if you have any questions at all, feel free to send us an email or give us a call. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit that like button down below. This is Thomas, and I'll see you guys in the next video.